from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
It immediately makes me wonder why they don't want an observer to observe them taking care of a special needs child. If it's a special needs child, you should be adapting to that child's needs and not trying to force them to be like everybody else.
A mother says her son's daycare asked her not to bring her son in on a day an observer would be sitting in at the daycare.
Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz spoke with the mother and visited the daycare to find out what happened.
That's kind of when it just hit me out of nowhere, like, wait a minute, this is so not okay. This is the kind of discrimination that should not be happening to children with special needs.
Brittany Berger says her 3-year-old son's daycare, ABC 123, asked her not to bring her son in on Wednesday, when an observer would be sitting in on the group.
They didn't specifically say why, but it's pretty easy to tell.
Her son is autistic.
He's just the happiest boy ever. He gets loud and screams sometimes, but he's always happy.
We visited the daycare to find out if this was true.
No comment, out.
But the daycare denies doing it. And though Berger doesn't have proof of that exchange, she did show us this note saying all children should be dropped off before 8 a.m. or after 10:30 a.m. on the day the observer is coming. If they come between those hours, they'll be asked to leave.
How can you tell those of us that are paying for this daycare that we now have to change our entire schedules so that you have a perfect environment for an observer?
A parent at the daycare tells me the observer coming Wednesday is from Parent Aware, a Minnesota quality rating system. The parent says the daycare currently has 2 stars and wants to improve to 3 stars. Parent Aware's district coordinator Vanessa Strobel tells me asking a child to come home or even asking children to be dropped off at certain times goes against Parent Aware's philosophy.
Anything that goes on within an early childhood facility should be something that parents have access to, and we would not advocate at all for anything other than an open door policy.
As for Brittany Berger's son, Jason,
he won't be attending that daycare anymore. We're open to recommendations as long as it's a facility that understands what dealing with children with special needs is like.
In Dilworth, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
Brittany Berger says she has already paid for her son's next 2 weeks at that daycare, but she'll cut her losses after today.
We're keeping an eye on crime in our area using our Valley News Live crime tracker. Police in Grand Forks say they believe they've identified a suspect in connection to a string of residential burglaries in that area. Officers are still trying to track down 36-year-old Farrell Clothier, who they say is a suspect in at least one of the crimes. Police have forwarded charges of attempted burglary against him for consideration to the Grand Forks County State's Attorney. There is a $1,000 reward for any information leading to his arrest. Since January 1st, there have been 23 residential burglaries of a similar nature. Police say additional suspects may develop as that investigation continues.
Bail has been set at $1.5 million for the father of a 3-year-old Breckenridge boy who died of homicidal violence. Tracy Brandt is facing 5 felony charges, including 1 count of murder and 3 counts of third-degree assault. On April 10th, police responded to a 911 call at the Park Manor Apartments for a 3-year-old child not breathing. Court documents detail evidence that 3-year-old Winter Sky Barker suffered abuse on more than 1 occasion, and authorities ruled the death a homicide. The medical examiner found evidence of abuse, including injuries to Winter's head, face, abdomen, extremities, and back, as well as previously fractured ribs. The cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the stomach. Brandt's next court date is set for May 29th.
A West Fargo man could spend up to 15 years in prison and pay $15,000 after an 8-month-old baby drowned in a bathtub last month. 27-year-old Spencer Foner is facing manslaughter and child neglect charges. Court documents say in March, police found Foner standing over the child who was lying on the floor. Attempts to revive the child were unsuccessful. Foner told police he put the baby in the bathtub in a baby seat and walked away. When he returned, he says the baby was floating face up in the tub.
Some morning rain set the stage for a cooler day, although it is still nice out there. Let's check in with Hutch for a quick look at tonight's weather. Hutch?
Yeah, only 2-1 in the rain gauge here in Fargo and Jamestown. Down to the south, though, along the South Dakota border, nearly a ½ inch estimated by Doppler radar in the Ellendale area. Big rain just south of Bismarck with 1 to 2 inches estimated radar. Rain is exiting. We have clear skies, but it has been gusty and colder today with that north wind that has been persistent. With all of the melting, rivers still rising in the northern Red River Valley, moderate flooding rather, north of Grand Forks. Also some moderate flooding still near Hillsborough, although the river is subsiding. Peak temperatures today, mid-50s for most of the area with the exception of northern Minnesota, and peak winds over 30 miles per hour. It looks breezy for the evening with cool temperatures continuing, but a warm up tomorrow. I'll have details on that here in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch. And make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so you can keep up with the weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecasts and conditions so you can plan your day. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free.
A woman was airlifted to Sanford Hospital in Fargo with life-threatening injuries after being hit by a car and the driver taking off. The Cass County, Minnesota Sheriff's Office says a 37-year-old woman from Walker, Minnesota was walking along the road near her home when she was struck. There are no descriptions of the vehicle or the driver. However, officers say the vehicle will likely have a dent on the passenger's side or a broken side mirror. Now, anyone with information is urged to call authorities. It's at 218-547-1424.
The North Dakota Department of Health will now review 19 applications of proposals for medical marijuana manufacturers in the state. The initial deadline to submit proposals was April 20th, but extending the deadline to yesterday allowed 2 more applicants to submit. Along with the Department of Health, a 7-member panel made up of health experts, citizens, law enforcement, and a North Dakota state lawyer will review the proposals. Applicants had to submit a $5,000 non-refundable fee. The state will register 2 manufacturers. Officials say medical marijuana should be available in North Dakota by the end of the year.
The folks who make Bobcats put them to good use around the community today. It's Doosan Bobcats Annual Days of Community Service. That's when the people who work for the equipment manufacturer volunteer to help out nonprofits. We caught up with them at Churches United for the Homeless's new apartment building in Moorhead, where they're doing some landscaping. In all, some 80 Doosan workers took on 7 projects for nonprofits in the FM metro area today.
To celebrate Earth Month 2018, we took a look at how to turn your trash into treasure. Unglued in Fargo showed us how old plastic bottles can be made into a stylish pair of earrings using scissors and earring hooks. Wine corks can be used for picture holders, coasters, or you can put them on skewers and use them as plant markers in your garden. Unglued says recycling items into crafts can be low cost and fun for the entire family.
More signs of spring as golf course activity is picking up. Later on Valley News Live at 6, which course opened today and how soon others locally will follow.
Up next, details on a dangerous blast that destroyed a greenhouse.